you're not putting items into this smock and then running off into the bush and then going to survive. Not realistic. Now I know we like to come up with great big fancy terms like, oh, we're gonna kit out our survival smock. When you are wearing a smock, you got to apply a little bit of common sense. You're not escaping and invading from something, so you're not just loading this down with pounds and pounds of weight. Let's take a look at some everyday carry items that you can put in your smock when you're on your outing, say with family, or you and your wife and kids are headed out. Maybe you're bringing the grandparents along and your guys are going on a trail. Maybe you're down in some nice park down in the United States and some of those trails are several miles long. Well, you can put kit in your smock. That one, it can kind of cover for an emergency situation or just kind of be an everyday carry item that's very handy and ready to use when you need it. So normally when you're out with family and things like that, you're not carrying a great big honkin', 6-inch Israeli bandage, which is kind of what this pocket was designed for. So I was thinking, what could I use in this pocket? If I'm going out with kids and we're going to go do a hike sometimes, especially moms and dads, a lot of times nowadays people are carrying walkie-talkies. And I thought this pocket would work awesome for a walkie-talkie. So here I have a Uniden walkie-talkie that I've had for several years, and it actually works just perfect in this pocket. And the nice thing about it, you don't have it stuffed, and it's held securely in place by this kind of real large flap, and it's not in the way. You're not going to get poked by the antenna. So if you're looking for a solution to carry your walkie-talkie, this pocket on their Commando or Mountain Smock works great for a walkie-talkie. On your upper left arm is a flat style pocket, which works perfect to fit in a Right in the Rain notepad. And then there's a long sleeve here that you can carry a pen. So obviously carrying a notepad and pen is really helpful for lots of situations. So that sits nice and neat and tucked right out of the way, and it's there when you need it. On the front of the chest, in behind the two large pockets, are two zippered pockets. So these pockets are really handy to keep things like a map. So if you're going hiking on an area, perfect pocket to keep a map and a headlamp. So obviously, sun goes down, it starts getting dark. You stayed out a little bit longer than you were supposed to. So perfect little pocket to keep your headlamp and map. On the other side, I have a set of baby wipes, really important, because you can probably bet 9 times out of the 10 when you're up on that trail, somebody's going to get a crap attack. And a boo-boo kit. So this is really important. So I keep a mixture of bandages, alcohol swabs, antiseptic swabs, insect sting. I keep some Aleve because every once in a while I get headaches when the barometric pressure changes. And for myself, now obviously I don't advise this for everybody, but because I'm generally outdoors by myself, there is a couple emergency sutures in there. So I don't advise stitching up a wound for one of your kids. Keep some pressure on that and call 911. Now, on the front of the coat, this smock is equipped with D-rings. So some smocks, like the B110 smock, don't have D-rings, but what they have is a little opening right here. So you'll actually have to create your own little paracord loop. Or, as you can see, this smock has it as well. So you can put a piece of paracord around there, create a loop to attach kit. But this one, as I said, is equipped with the D-rings. So D-rings are really handy so that you can put kit on there that's attached to a tether, or sometimes called a dummy cord. Now, what's really important is I generally put some hockey tape over here, and that keeps it nice and tight and prevents any unraveling or my knot coming undone. So, and I do that on both ends. Now, I got in the habit a few years ago of ordering a bunch of these, what the heck do you call these things again?
Wow.
Anyways, these little quick clips, so that if you go from one smock to another, or you change your gear, you can quickly attach that kit to your smock carabiner. Wow, I think I'm getting old. On the other pocket, so here I have an emergency whistle, right? And the tether is long enough so that emergency whistle is really important, because although I can whistle really loud, it gets really cold. You're not going to be able to make that whistle sometimes work very well. So I just have those items in these pockets. Obviously, there's still lots more space, but I don't advise overloading your smock. Just put in there the stuff that you're going to need, or a few things for an emergency, because if you start overloading that smock, it's going to get uncomfortable and it's going to not make your outdoors experience any fun. Now, when I'm out in the outdoors, the items I put in these front two pockets are the items that I need on a regular basis. So one is obviously my compass. So that is in there. Also, it is tethered to a D-ring. And in the other pocket, which I'm starting to use a lot more, is my GPS. So that's why those two items are in the front pockets, because they get used all the time. Now on my right side, there is a large pocket. So this time of year, I'm wearing a cap if it's going to cool down. So I have my toque in there, and also I keep my fire steel. So when I get to a spot and I want to make a fire, then I can easily get at my fire steel. So I keep my toque and fire steel in this pocket. In the large pocket on my left side, so in here I have, these are some secondary layer gloves, because my other gloves that I wear aren't lined, so this gives me some extra thermal protection. And then there is a neck tube, right, to protect my face if it starts snowing and the wind gets cold and everything else. And then there is a backup bar in there, protein bar, and my flashlight. So that's also tethered, and it's on a long enough tether that I don't have to take it off. I can just pull it out, and then I can use that flashlight and shine it on my trail and find my way. So that's why that one's on a little bit longer of a tether or dummy cord. Inside the smock are two zippered pockets. So on the left side, I keep my emergency sewing kit. So this is like an old Canadian Forces surplus sewing kit. So it's got thread, needles, stuff like that. This is actually a really important piece of kit. I've had to repair canteen holders, backpacks, all kinds of stuff. So it's really important to have maybe an emergency backup sewing kit. You never know. You might be out on a trail with your family and blow the crotch in your pants. Wow. So you might want to get that repaired. So on this side, I keep a couple lighters. So this is some emergency fire lighting tinder that's impregnated. It's really flammable. Actually, I got this from the Pathfinder store. And not that it ever really gets used, but it's just there. It's an emergency water filter. So this isn't a Sawyer Mini. This is much smaller, light. So if you found something and you needed to squat down and get a drink, well, it's there if you need it. Now, generally, when you have your smock, you're going to be wearing a small backpack or some type of carry kit to carry a water bottle. So that's why this isn't loaded down with water bottles and tarps and cordage and all that stuff. No, because that stuff you're carrying in your backpack. You're not going to be carrying that in your smock. Just with these few items alone already, adds more than enough weight to the smock. Now, a key feature on this smock that isn't on the cheaper versions like the B110 is you have pit zips, right? So this is really important. You can open up this smock and there is another zipper right here that you can open up if need be, and you can get some ventilation. Because if the sun comes up and it starts warming up, you can tend to overheat pretty quick. So this is really nice. You can walk along on the trail with this open, have lots of ventilation, and not have your body overheat. So it's a really important feature with, getting the right smock to suit your needs. Now, obviously, as it gets colder, baby wipes are going to become impractical because they're just going to freeze solid. So eventually, I'll come to a point here real soon, and that'll get, swapped out with some toilet paper because frozen baby wipe just isn't going to work. Apply some common sense and practicality, and a smock will serve you well. It will meet your needs for what you need it for out in the forest and on your adventures. And it is a really worthwhile investment, and I think you'll get a lot of enjoyment out of it. All right, take care, everyone, and we'll catch you all in the next video. Bye now.